Bringing up the second speaker, a thought leader in the pharmaceutical industry, leader of leaders, leader SMO. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I welcome Dr. Okey Akpa, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of SKG Pharma, as he still talks about the same topic, built to last, but the role of leadership in building transgenerational businesses. You're welcome, sir.
Appreciate you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And then good morning, brethren. Well, I had to say the first one because I'm coming from the business. And we are here for business. Then the second one is stronger than the first one. Praise the Lord. Praise Jesus. It's quite an interesting moment. I don't know whether to start with a confession or with a greeting. But let me appreciate our leader, Sir Ike, someone who influences me a lot. When he called me to say I'll be presenting a paper, this is actually one of the most difficult times for me to find time to do anything. But he said before he started, he calls me okay boy, and that shows you the relationship. He said, okay boy, you're going to do some work and you don't have an option. You say, just say yes before I tell you. So he influences me a lot. Thank you, sir, for your leadership. And our president, our amiable president, who is very infectious in the way he relates with people. You find it difficult. And these are the attributes of God, actually, when you are actually a child of God. So I want to thank the leadership, everybody in your team. I want to thank all of us, children of God here. I want to recognize my former executive secretary, PMG man, fellow Kunle Okulola. I just cited him. I'm sure. Yeah. A great pillar in the industry. I would have actually liked to go around and welcome people. Those of you who know me know I'm very warm. So please just shake the next man to you, give him a handshake and say, Dr. K says welcome. You know, just make it a bit lively, you know, open it up. Open it up a bit. Open it up a bit. Yes, thank you very much. Just on my behalf. Make sure the person smiles. If he doesn't smile, don't stop until he smiles. You know, it's quite important for me. If he doesn't smile, fantastic. That's more. Fantastic. That's better. All right? So now we call the meeting to order again. Now I'm having trouble calling the meeting to order. Yes. Yes, that's good. Fantastic. I'm seeing my sister for a very long time. I haven't seen her. So this is, I'm very excited to be here. Then a quick confession is to say that I thank those of you who are holding this vision. Because at the very beginning, some of us were there. Just very recently, I come across my pin, the pin of this organization, the international pin, which is the fish logo blue, which was given the very first time Professor Wilson Nehru and some Americans. That was 1980 something, Doba Hotel, Kaduna. That was the first formal meeting of this. And some of us have not kept pace. But as I listened to Pastor Debo, the Spirit of God was ministering to me to say, I'm going to bring back my children to this fellowship. And God was telling me that this fellowship will impact how pharmacists practice in Nigeria. This fellowship we are looking at. because that's actually the mind of God when he put us together, that we will begin to influence this profession and direct how it is practiced. And that's the essence, without which we are just like any other social gathering. Because we will make impact here, and then we will make heaven by his grace. If it is only to make heaven, I think he would adopt another approach. He won't let us to suffer all that Deborah spoke about. It's definitely a challenge taking a topic when such an erudite pastor has spoken. He actually gave the message. He actually gave this build to last. He actually dealt with it in a very fundamental way. So I appreciate you, sir. Let's clap again for him. So if you find me repeating most of the things he said, it is because the principles are the same. What may be different is the anecdote you try to use or the experience you try to share. But when Sir Ike spoke with me, he said something. I'm a full gospel person. I'm a quintessential full gospel person, so I tell stories. And so he told me, he said, just tell your story, okay, as you give the topic. So I'm going to be just saying a few things that has happened in my career, and I hope you will find them useful. Built to last. 1989 or 1990, one of the brightest minds in business, Jim Collins, wrote a book, Built to Last. Soon after that, he wrote a follow-up, From Good to Great. Those two books, if you're in business and you don't have them in your library, probably when you leave this room, try and go and buy them. Because they are classicals. Every now and then, God gives idea to somebody and then he writes a book, just like the 7 Habits of Most Successful People. It's a classic. It's a game-changing book. Competitive Strategy by Michael Porter. It's a classic. It's a game-changing book. There are books that shape knowledge. You should try and have them if you love books. If you don't love books, try and get them in audio. If you don't have audio, try and get them in films. But they are. So this topic is so fundamental. 2 Saturdays ago, we were in a wedding on Herbert Macaulay in Yaba. We were in a wedding in the Methodist Cathedral, the big Methodist Cathedral. And then one of the leaders in pharma industry was in that wedding. And when we were taking pictures, he touched me. He said, okay, look across the road. I looked across and he said, you know that building used to house the biggest distribution chain in pharmacy in Nigeria. You know, and he called the company, and we all would know the company. The name starts with PH. Yeah, well, I don't want to be unethical. And he said, then he started to give me history about how big that company was. And today it's gone, it's forgotten. The younger ones here, if we call the name, may not know it. But that company, as at the time it was on, was arguably bigger than WWCV in terms of distribution. Yes, it was. It was. In terms of channel control, it controlled the channel. But if you wind backwards, you would also remember companies like WAD, West African Drugs, and all that. But I will not use those as example because they were corporate organizations. WAD was a corporate, was part of UAC. So it could be rationalized out of strategy, like our speaker said. But here, we're looking at businesses started by us, built by us, on what has happened. Our God does not start anything to die. A classical example is that Christ put together 12 wonderful men, and they started an organization that has lasted for over 2,000 years. So if you're a Christian and God has given you something, it's meant to last. So I'm going to consider the things we think we need to do to make these things last. We're going to follow a very simple outline, the role of business, structure of business, the transgenerational business. Then we'll look at leadership. Then we'll take a look at another perspective, something to believe in that I'm going to be running a bit. Businesses, like Pastor said, one quick quiz. Why are we in business? I need 3 answers. Why are we in business? It's a question often asked, but people always give different answer. Why are we in business? This role. I will tell the president to announce a prize. Yes.
To create value and make profit.
Create value, make profit. To glorify God. I like that. That's the ultimate. Any other answer? Yes? To service humanity. Okay, final one. Yes. To employ people. Meet a need. Solve problems. Fantastic. You know, the beauty of business answers is that no answer is wrong, no answer is super right. But there must always be an answer that addresses the issue. And that would be the right answer. We are in business simply to remain in business. That's why we're in business. We are in business to do what? To remain in business. In other words, anything you do that stops you from being in business, you're not in business. We're in business to remain in business. Whether it is to create value, whether it is to employ people, whether it is to glorify God, you are in business to remain in business. And that should be the first check to building to last. The step I'm taking, will it keep me in business? If it won't keep you in business, you are not in business. And so, if we can punch some of the light, I don't know why it's so blurred. Maybe I chose the wrong background for these slides. But I hope you do see. The 3 bullet points here says we're in business to create value. Man of God spoke about it hugely. So businesses are the strongest vehicles to create value. Businesses also deliver societal development. Just look at the skyline of Lagos and think of what will happen if there are no businesses. Alausa is the only government territory. Every other thing you see in Lagos are virtually businesses. So businesses are vehicles for developing the society. Business is also responsible for human development. Why? We're in an era of capitalism. Capitalism runs on a reward system. That Mark Zuckerberg, Bezos, all the great guys were motivated by the reward. Silicon Valley is being built because guys want to create value, be on a cutting edge. So businesses are quite important. Businesses are modern society. The tax system depends on business. The stakeholder model of business, which is the real concept, the new concept of business, means that everybody in the society has a stake in your business. If you take Alpha Pharmacy, for instance, it is not just our big leader that is a stakeholder there. He pays tax, he pays local government dues, he makes sure the environment is kept clean and all that. The people he employs also. So if you draw that value chain, business is all about stakeholders. There are 2 fundamental structures of business. The first structure of business is the one we were taught in school. And that has to do with land, capital, and people. If you're starting a business, you say, what are the 3 things you need? land, capital, and what? People. I put the first one as infrastructure, which is the physical thing like he spoke about, the building. Then the capital, you need money to run business, of course. And then the big one, you need people to run business. Now, these are the ones we know. These were the ones we were taught in this. But if you're here, I tried to simplify my presentation so you can leave the room and implement things. They are not classical theories and all that, and I can do all those stuff. But anytime I'm going to talk to children of God, I go simple. There are three pillars that every business rests upon. Whether you're the woman doing bole by the roadside and the guy designing the most sophisticated software, three principles, and those are by your right. Products, processes, and people. Once you look after these three things, you're going to have a successful business. And I will speak about them later. The products you're offering or the services, if they are intangible. The processes through which you're offering them and the people. We fully understand products and services, but the one we often don't think about are processes. And everywhere in the Bible, there was no single thing accomplished that God did not take time to lay down the processes of doing it. No one. When he told Noah to build a ship, he was so careful even to give the dimensions and to tell Noah the takeoff point, when to do, how to put the animals on. Many businesses in Nigeria, especially the ones run by some of us Christians, think less about processes. We think less about processes. Somebody came to my house and went to my generator room and saw that there is a small SOP on how to operate the generators. Because there's a small generator, there's a big one, there's an inverter, there's NEPA. Think of what will happen if I suddenly change a megad and there is nothing to show how he's going to do it. He will blow the house. You're welcome, sir. Another senior person has walked in. Welcome, sir. Sir Paul. So processes, we're going to spend time a bit on processes. And of course, people. Pastor Debo spoke about people. You must look after people. If you fix these three things, as simple as they are. Like I said, I'm going to be telling a story. So a couple of years ago, I was called by God to be the CEO of SKG Pharma. When that job was given to us, I say to us because it was Holy Spirit, God the Father and the Son, and I was in between them as their vehicle. When it was given to us, these three things were the things that occupied me. One of the things I found was that our processes were weak and wrong, our people were demotivated, and my product portfolio needed a look. For instance, I was talking with one of my lecturers in Lagos Business School then, and he said he was going to pass by. That was before I took over. And he asked me, when will people be in the office? I said, come by 9 o'clock. He said, no, that's your company. I'm not going to come by 9. Because the last time I visited, it was 10 o'clock and people were still shuffling into office. So when I became the CEO, the first thing I did was I called a meeting and I said, gentlemen, let's define when we're going to start. As simple as time. And I told them a story. I said, if anybody cannot keep time, I do not trust that the person can weigh 500 milligrams of paracetamol. Because to keep time is easier than to bend down and ensure that a tablet of paracetamol is 500 milligrams. The takeoff point of discipline is time. And anybody who can discipline himself to keep time can therefore not discipline himself to keep any other thing. Wait a minute. Everything God has asked us to do in life is measured in time. And it's the only thing God has created, he has refused to increase or decrease. 24 hours. So, if you're looking at time in terms of processes and people, and when we started implementing the time, it was so tough that my secretary came to me one morning and said, excuse me, sir. I said, yeah, what is it? He said, because we defined it to mean that we're starting work by 8, and we define what we mean by 8. We said it means 8 o'clock, if the phone on your desk rings, it must be picked. Not that 8 o'clock you're opening the door. And we defined how the phone will ring. We said we will pick our call on a second ring. So 8 o'clock anywhere I'm in the world, I'll dial the office. And if on a second ring nobody picked it, there was trouble when I got back. My secretary came to me and said, Oga, it's 7:45, not the same as 8. He said, it's 8:15, not. Say, what if somebody comes by 8:30? Has he not tried? So I gave her a piece of paper. I said, okay, give me the mathematical equation that converts 8:30 to 8. Once you can achieve that, then we can bend the rule. Of course, it wasn't long I fired her, because I knew I had the wrong person. The house has gone quiet. You think the fire is a wrong thing? I'll come to that. There is a cycle which we need to look at for transgenerational business. We're looking at businesses that can, and this is a serious matter. I am not only looking at transgenerational business, I want to expand it to also mention transgenerational career. In the 80s and 90s, if you looked at the Nigerian business space, top CEOs of multinationals were Nigerians. I don't know if you observed that. When we had the Hewerers of this world, the Bumionis of this world, Cadbury, Guinness, Nigerian breweries, PZ, name them, they were all Nigerians. If you come to Pharma, then you had Bruno Wankwo and the rest of them. Now, there are no more many multinationals in Pharma, but go to FMCG. Go and check who is running Guinness. Go and check who is running Nigerian breweries. Go and check who is running Nestle. Go and check who is running Cadbury. Go and check who is, they are all expatriates. It is the children of God that God will prepare to take such positions. I tell you a bit of me. SKG Pharma is British. Still over 70% British till today. As a matter of fact, the head of my overseas board is in town. When I was a general manager, I woke up one day and I went to my CEO and I asked him, how far can a black man go in this company? Because we're in a group. We have 3 other companies that are all multinational. They're all running in Nigeria. And they were all expatriates. And he told me, he said, well, okay, the policy is that it's expatriates that will be our CEO. I went back and I told my wife, I said, I find it difficult to stay in an organization where I know there is a ceiling, on top of me. But we kept going. I will share my testimony at some other forum. But you know one thing about God? When he's ready for you, he sets aside protocol. Because the protocol was written by man. And that's why the Bible said that the heart of the king is in his hands. And when I was made a CEO, listen to what happened. In one of the days when we were looking to refinance our portfolio, and we had a bank coming to us to give us facility. And I was sure that the bank was going to say no by the strength of our document. I was in my office. I was talking about transgenerational business. What he said, and I will come to it. One of the things that to enable you build transgenerational business is to hear from God where you should be going. The very spot God spoke to me in my office, I still know it. When the voice said, make a presentation to these people who are coming. I ran to PNG Man's secretariat. Kunle wouldn't know what I was going through. I said, Kunle, can you give me industry data? I need industry data. What's the size of industry? What's this? Break it down for me. And I left. I spent 2 days doing this presentation. Then I went to see my boss on a Sunday. He was visiting Nigeria. Then I showed him the presentation. I said, I'm going to share this. He said, okay, this is powerful. You know the next thing he said? He said, anyway, I'm not surprised at what you're doing because somebody challenged me and said, until you hand over that business to a child of God, it's not going to grow. Immediately he said that, I stopped my laptop, got into my car, drove back and called my wife and said, we need to pray. There is a word that has come. We need to stand on. Praise the Lord. So I'm saying this because it is not just transgenerational business we are talking about. We're talking about transgenerational career. If you're a Christian and you are in an employment, you must aim for the top. Praise the Lord. If you are going backwards, you're restricting yourself. God is waiting for you to hand you over that leadership of that organization. And so I have here 3 fundamental stages that I think are important for a business to be transgenerational. When a business starts, it starts with what I call the founder's vision. It's usually very small. It's a startup. It's entrepreneurial. It's a lot of individual efforts. You know, you do a lot of things by yourself. Most of us here are here. We're all running startups. The effort is all our own. The vision is our own. And the owner's vision is important. Then the business goes into where it grows big. It grows big. Like some of us have businesses. I'm going to be using the one we're all familiar with. Alpha Pharmacy is quite here. It's quite here. It's big. It has overgone here because he has a structure. He has a COO. So it's no more just his effort. He's here in this room. That business is running. But then he's here. For him to be successful here, there must now be organizational vision that far captures. It is his vision now must be expanded to represent what does Alpha Pharmacy want to be. No longer what does Sir Ikeja want to be. Then that business must begin to acquire purpose. It's no longer about making money. It's now about what will Alpha Pharmacy be known for? What does it stand for? What's the purpose? And that's what Jim Collins is trying to explain in Build to Last, the book I asked everybody to go and buy. Then he must begin to look at his people. What are the qualities? Do I have the capacity? Do I have the competence? Somebody will always ask me, but with a very bad example. He said, if this aircraft drops now, who sits on our seat tomorrow morning? I say, sir, it's a very bad example. He said, yeah, but I want to tell you how bad it can be. This is how audacious business people think. We're all in this aircraft. If it drops today, what happens to this organization? And that should challenge us to think about people, processes, the way we do things. David was a very great process person. Governance. We finished a business seminar, full gospel business seminar, just on Saturday. And I am also responsible for putting that together. And as I was coming in, somebody called me and said, Dr. Akpa, you need to explain something to somebody. I've been trying to explain it, she can't understand it. And what was it? The speaker we had given an example and said, if you are running a shop, you must pay yourself a salary. Don't be dipping hand and spending as if every money that came in is your money. You must fix a salary, pay yourself. And this lady was protesting in her spirit. She said, what are you saying? What are you telling me? I'm making expenses. How can't I spend? So I sat her down and I said, okay, did you make a profit last year? Yeah, well, I think so. I'm not quite sure, but money was coming, money was going. I said, okay, what of the year before? And then it became a mini business seminar. That is what happens when there's no process. Sorry, when there's no governance. There must be governance. There must be cutoff. There must be cutoff. There must be governance. You must restrict yourself. Some years ago, a friend of mine came to me, drove to my house in a breakfast, ex-banker. He had this big idea. He called me, we called another guy who worked in the oil industry. We drove to his house. We're going to establish a bank. Yeah, okay, bring your idea, you're a brilliant guy. Okay, we finished the whole thing, breakfast. This guy was going to be the main guy who were going to invest. And the other guy, he has a lot of money. He said, Oga, how do I respond? I said, don't worry. I'm going to send you an email. Send it to this guy and ask for answers. If he replies us based on those answers, we will progress. I crafted about 14 governance questions and mailed to him to mail to this guy. We never got a reply. We knew he wasn't ready for a business that will last longer than sharing the money. He went ahead, discountenanced us, started the bank. It folded within 2 years. And what were the questions I was asking? Control. Who will sign check? Who will sign voucher? If we draw money to put fuel, will we account for it? Governance structure. Should we have a board or not? Who will be the chairman? No business is too small to have a board. If you are looking at generational business, but if you want to create a business, make money, live well, and it goes with you, don't worry about all I'm saying. But if you want a business that you can retire and it will continue to go, no business is too small to have a board. Because what does a board do? A board will look at what you have done and ask questions. Why is your turnover not growing? Why did you not make enough profit here? In one of the companies that is under me, we just finished a board meeting of it. And they saw the half-year result. And the chairman asked me, what's the forecast for second half? Will it look like the first half? If it will not, why? If it will, why? That's all board does for you. And that's how to create a transgenerational business. Because you're putting something that even when you're not there, can run. And now when you are here in the transgenerational, first of all, the vision moves from founder's vision to organizational vision to what we call generational vision. In the next 20 years, this is where we see this business going. That's a generational vision. The speaker today spoke about why we have CEOs. CEOs are paid to think. And look, in business strategy, there's what we call the champagne model. You know, when you pop a champagne, it bubbles this way. It looks down. When you run your business with a champagne model, the business dies. You know why? The bubble is looking down. In a champagne model, everybody's looking down, nobody's looking up. You know, a champagne bubble doesn't go this way, does it? It goes that way. So what it means is that the sales manager is looking down. The general manager is looking at the sales manager. The executive director is looking at the general manager. The MD is looking at the executive director. Somebody must look up. Praise the Lord. And moreover, if you're a Christian, you must look up. Because where does your help come from? And at this level, you must talk about sustainability, value. We spoke about value. Culture will come to culture. Focus on leadership. Very quickly, this is simple. There is a clear distinction between management and leadership. Very clear distinction. And those two circles captures it. Management is about instilling good operational processes. Making sure there is invoice, there is accounting, there is all that. And it's important. Leadership is all about instilling an inspiring vision. When the leader comes in, what does he inspire? And that takes me to most of our practices, especially the startup. No business is too small for leadership. Even if it is only you and one person, you can inspire that person to be a great person. They say good leaders are those that take people to where they want to go. Great leaders are those that take people to where they ought to go. Very clear distinction. So, businesses that have leadership make generational change. Again, another piece of information. The businesses we run is about the only business of its size that I know that is a multinational owned by expatriates without a single expatriate in the management. Not one. Not one. And that is because there is inspiration from God, and there are people I look up to and people who work for us. So you must balance these two things. And the middle point is that the important thing is getting important things done is common to both of them. Getting important things done is common to both of them. A little bit of story here again. We did a research in my marketing department some years ago. I shouldn't be sharing this, but I can share it because I'm among brethren. We did a research in pharmacies. That's why it's interesting. We were trying to determine how to focus our attention in our marketing offensive in pharmacies. And then I designed a questionnaire. We did a depth research. We wanted to know in Nigerian pharmacies who was creating more impact. The pharmacist, the shop attendant, the accountant, we even included Gateman. We did all that. And it will shock you that the result of that research showed that shop attendants were making more impact than pharmacists. This was a Dex research. And that led, okay, my sister also walked in. Mrs. Editu Wachuku, I must recognize her. You're welcome, ma. Yeah. We did this research. And it showed that the shop attendants were more impactful in most of the pharmacies. And I will tell you how the model was developed. I'm a scholar. I hold PhD in management, so I can think through these things. We did a matrix that asked a few questions. Who was more available? Who knew many people that come into the shop? Who was more knowledgeable about what is out of stock? Who knew what was going to expire? We did all that. And we collected the data and we put it in a model. It came out clear. And that was how, when we launched some of the products we launched, SKG Pharma was the first company that organized shop attendant forum. And so all across this city, anywhere you walked in, that was when we lost Septrin. If you asked for Septrin, you were given Primpex. That job was done by shop attendant. It was a research work. It was a research work. And if you are therefore a pharmacist, and you think that your work is to stay out and be sleeping, you are actually handing over the destiny of that business to some other people. You're actually giving up. Right, we'll come to that if time permits us. On leadership, by my right, because I was asked to speak about leadership and creating a business that can outlive us. Number one, what are the kind of leaders that can create a business that can go from generation to generation? First thing is authenticity. You must be authentic. People want to follow somebody they trust. People want to follow somebody they can see through. Not somebody who tells them something in the morning, by mid-noon, he has shifted. Integrity. Integrity, we speak about it every day. But my problem is that people think it's all about money. It's all about who can keep money. But for me, integrity is actually the talking, knowing, doing gap. Do I mean what I'm saying? And am I doing what I'm saying? It's not only in money. If I promised our leader, Sir Ike, that I will be here, and the president, if I promised them that I will be here to speak, and this morning I can't even pick their call, and I do that consistently, I have lost integrity. It's a matter of time when you say, Okey Akpa, they say, don't worry about him. Even if he's the best speaker in the world, don't worry. We won't be sure where he will be. So to build a transgenerational business, you must be a leader with integrity. Knowledge is key. And the last speaker said it. Simply put, you can't give what you don't have. If you're a pharmacist, we're all pharmacists, or majority of us, unless our guests, we're pharmacists. Since you graduated, what aspect of the practice have you targeted and told yourself, I'm going to develop here, I'm going to develop myself to be the best? Every Sunday, when I get my Sunday paper, and I look at the certain profiles of it, like the Style magazine and all that, and I see those running the banking sector, telecom, what I always ask myself are, where are the children of God in this? When are we going to take over our own profession? We're not going to take it over, brethren, if we remain ordinary. If we don't differentiate ourselves. Because if Alpha Pharmacy advertises for MD tomorrow, he's going to call a consultant to profile the quality of a CEO for that company. Sir Ike is not going to pick any of us because we are members of this fellowship. If he does it, people like me will protest. Yes. And you're going to go and compete against the best to get that job. So, separate yourself. If you look at the characters in the Bible, from Gideon to everybody, God separated them and got them ready for the battle they were going to fight. They were not ordinary. Or were they? They were not ordinary. So separate yourself. And it could be in pharmacy, it could be in politics, it could be in journalism. It could be in anything you want to do. But please separate yourself. What is a brand? Shorter definition, a differentiated product. Period. If I bring 5 cars here and remove the symbol and shape, you won't be able to identify any of them. Will you? But the moment I put the logo, yeah, that's a Mercedes. Oh, that's a Peugeot. Oh, that's a Rolls Royce. Those symbols only announce what has been put in them. So, integrity. Then, what do you expect? Share your vision and believe in it. A leader who will build a generational business is a storyteller. He shares his vision. He is reaching out. He is talking. And everything I'm talking about here is not about big businesses, please. It's as small as the startups we are running to the big corporations we are running. The same principle. The same principle. How many times do you sit your shop girls down or your shop boys and tell them inspiring stories? Tell them where this pharmacy is going. You see this thing we are starting together? I am with you. You will be here when we will be a chain. We are one now. In 5 years' time, we're going to have the second one. And that guy is nodding his head. All right. Me and my guy, we're going somewhere. But every day you come, your head is dropped. You can't even put a nice shirt anymore. Why are you going to a pity party? Who told you there is anything to gain in a pity party? This one is pitying this one, that one is pitying that one is pitying that one. Pity, 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 pity. Where will you pity to? Come on. Raise your, how does the Bible say it? O ye gates. What did the Bible say? Lift up your head, O ye, and be ye. Yeah, it didn't say drop your head, O ye gates. You know, and my sister knows when I was growing up in SKG, some days I'm coming to work, I have what they call marketing boot. If I put it on, anybody who sees me says, there's trouble today, okay, it's on fire. From my step, you will know there's going to be issues today. So there's no need to drop head. Why are you dropping head? Why are you dropping head? Why are you complaining? So, share what you expect. Do not forsake the days of your little beginning. That little shop God has given you, sit down with whole hands. Our pastor spoke about praying with purpose. Pray with purpose. Still on leadership. Can people follow you blindfoldedly? Can people go to war with you blindfolded? There are people, at least a couple of them in this room. He is one of them. Sir Ike is one of them. I can follow them blindfoldedly. If you are leading a company and people can't follow you blindfoldedly, what I mean by blindfoldedly, when you tell people, jump, they ask you how high. But if people are still asking you, why should we jump? You say, jump, you say, okay, but why? But when you see a terrific leader, we say, jump, before the P finishes, you are leaping. But when you see I say, jump, but why? Where is it coming from? A drink? Jump? Who jumping to? Not jumping. Why? You haven't created a brand that can be trusted. Can people go to war with you blindfolded? Then the organization can go to generation. Show uncommon commitment as a leader. Expect positive results. Research has shown that there is something that motivates more than money. And that is positive result of work. If you have reps working for you, you find out that the ones who are doing well keep doing better. But they are all paid the same salary. Why? The ones getting results are motivated more. The ones not doing well keep doing less. So motivate people, make people to give their best. Another research, when people say, I want to take the best, no. People can only give you their best. Yep, okay, I still have time. Can I take this much time? 15, right? I should, or less. Okay, I will stop in 10. Don't treat people as numbers. Treat people as people. And money alone is not enough. There is what is called emotional salary. The first time I used that salary, the first time I used that cliche, somebody shocked, said, what do you mean? And what happened was that somebody came to headhunt me and forced me to give an interview. I said, I don't give an interview. The discussion proceeded, and the fellow now said, how much are we going to pay you to come over? I was laughing. I said, leave me, let me go. So he kept asking me, then I named one figure. I don't know whether I told him 100 million or I just named the figure. And the person said, we know how much pharmacists are paid now. I said, but I'm not just a pharmacist. I'm a special breed. I said, go and look after them. I said, not just academic qualification. He said, okay, we know. That's why we were asked from overseas to recruit you. He said, but why did you ask for this kind of salary? How much are you paid where you're coming from? I said, you can't pay me what I'm paid for, where I'm coming from. He said, why? I said, because my emotional salary is very high. The guy stopped and said, okay, please explain this concept. And I explained it with an example. So many years ago, in the early 20s, I lost my dad. And my boss, my mentor, my father figure, my present father figure, knows how close I am with my dad. And he's a British man. So I went to bury my dad. And in the middle of all that, a call came through my phone. Don't put your dad in the grave until I come. And that was my boss. And the next thing I saw was himself, his son, the MD of 2 other companies, 5 white men all in my village. And then to come to my village then, you either need a helicopter or you travel and change your dress. But now we have the best road network in Nigeria because the governor is from my place. So don't mind me. I have street light passing through my house now. So I invite you to a retreat. So they arrived my village. Now, please, put money to that gesture. If you're a worker. Can you put money to that gesture? You can't put money to that gesture because my spirit was lifted beyond what money could pay. So pay your people salary, or please pay emotional salary. And make your emotional salary to count. Be there when your staff need you. Be there especially when they don't expect to see you. Be there for them. People never finish spending emotional salary. That is the beautiful thing about emotional salary. They don't finish spending it. People don't finish spending it. And that is what makes organization to be generational. Because when you are not there, they will remember the emotional salary. I remember another story, life story that happened to me. Anytime my MD was traveling outside the country, he would always say, okay, I'm traveling. And that means you're not going home early. When everybody goes and he carries his bag to go, he will call me, shake my hand, and say, look after things. And in one of the times he traveled, there was so much pressure. This job came. You know, when I finished my MBA, I was MBA at 3 Lagos Business School before I got my PhD. So It was like there was a whistle. Go and get Okey Akpa. Every day I'll get somebody say, Philip Consulting will come. This other person, okay, we want you in telecom. Chief Marketing Officer, okay, we want you. And this guy came and this job was so good. Absolutely amazing. You know, I was to be in charge of Nigeria, West Africa, everywhere. Dream job. But when the guy left me, a voice came to me. What will you tell this man that hugged you? This is what we spoke about. You'll get this slide, so don't worry. We spoke about people, processes, culture, vision, relevant factor, customer focus, customer. What happened to Kodak? Who still has Kodak camera? Does anybody still have instant? That one we snap and do like this. When you cross your leg like this. Polaroid. Who has Polaroid? Remember when we used to stay like this beside a car and immediately they give you. What happened? It was overtaken by technology, right? Who carries camera anymore? So ask yourself, for generational business, is that business still relevant? Is the business model still relevant? Or is technology challenging it? What is going to change? Pharmacists, hear me. Last year, summer, I was in US. I was visiting a professor in Boston. And we spent a whole time analyzing a trend. Amazon is going into drug distribution in America. And it's a big issue. Walgreens, CVS are all panicking. Till today, I still get the write-up on it. So ask yourself, in the next 10 years, what is going to change in my profession? If Amazon goes into drug distribution, everybody's in trouble. And if it happens in America, give it 5 years, 10 years, it will happen here. So for a business to pass from generation to generation, it must remain relevant. And it must remain relevant to the extent it can serve the customer need. If the customer need is migrating, you must migrate with it. Or better, migrate ahead of it. Otherwise, your business is a dinosaur. There's nothing you can do about it. If you like, go and fast about it. If you like, lock yourself. But people simply don't do business that way anymore. Now I'm running another perspective. Beyond profit. Any business run that is profit-centric doesn't pass generations. Doesn't pass generations. So, don't make profit at the expense of the future. Know when to make change and what changes to make in the business model. Number 2, common good is good business. Common good is what? Good business. If you're investing in this fellowship, it's good business because it's a common good. God has a way of rewarding those that are sowing into things that are not directly related to them. Common good. In strategy, we call it self-enlightenment. Self-enlightenment. You are in your corner, you run a small shop. If you can pay malams to clean the environment you are, please do it. It adds up to your business. Sooner or later, people are going to ask, who is doing this? They say, it's Star Pharmacy. Okay? He's the one responsible for making sure there are no refuse here. They will pay you back. Those of you who are in marketing know there's what we call cost marketing, where you take a course and you're investing in it. You can, it's not related to what you're doing. You can say, I'm going to chase river blindness. You have no business with river blindness, but you just go to riverine areas, you are investing in it. Don't ask me how it works, but God has a way of rewarding it. Businesses like that live longer. So common good is good business. Establish the business in the minds and heart of people. That's what common good does for you. Your business gets entrenched in the heart and mind of people. Culture counts. He said it. Culture we eat, strategy for breakfast. This is strong. I'm running for time now. Identity is destiny. Very strong. If your business doesn't have identity, it doesn't have a destiny. What are you known for? We are Christians. What is your business known for? I run SKG Pharma. From the gate of SKG Pharma, you know it's a British company. Why? There are lawns, manicured, everything. You come in, even the seat in my office is not flamboyant. It's cut into square. You can see my suit. It's not colorful. Very British. That's my identity. Why? I run a British company. I run a British company. Your identity is your destiny. Create apostles, not just employees. Time will not allow me because I'm being timed. But there is a matrix that you can use to segment everybody who works for you. We have 4 categories. We have a group we call, oh God, I'll remember it. But they are lukewarm people. They are there because the pay is good. They don't have where to go. Then we have what we call terrorists. These are people, the more you pay them, the angrier they get. Anybody who comes into company, they say, have they hired you? I'm looking for where to go. You join. But they won't go anywhere. You know, their own is to demotivate anybody who comes. Then the 4th group are the apostles. These are people who, when things are going down, they say, oh God, don't worry. Remember 2 years ago, we made a lot of profit. They are apostles. Try to create apostles, not just employees. And you can do it by all we have been saying. Now, this is the last slide actually. But before this time, I like to beg of all of us, please invest in yourself. A little story about me, again. I don't have WhatsApp. I'm not on Facebook. I don't have WhatsApp. But my wife has bought WhatsApp for me. So I'm trying to put it together. The reason she bought it for me is because my class association in Ikeja has asked me to activate UNN alumni, my class. I lead my class and they insisted that I must be on WhatsApp. NAFDAC council, I'm on the council. Everybody's worrying me. I love WhatsApp. But WhatsApp was WhatsApping time. The way it was WhatsApping people's time, I protested. You know, I did my PhD. I got my PhD from ISM Paris 2017. I couldn't have done my doctorate if I was on WhatsApp. But how can you reach me? I'm on Telegram, which is more restricted. But what I've decided to do now, I'm going to put WhatsApp on a different phone. When I now have time, I carry it. But that I'll be going about and something will be beeping and beeping endlessly and beeping endlessly. I can't stand it. Calculate the amount of time you spend on WhatsApp. Put it together, you can do a master's degree with it. Check it. Check it. Check it. Check it. And then analyze what you're reading in WhatsApp. 90% is gossip. You don't need them. Analyze the impact of what you're reading. 100% they demoralize you. Either somebody has beheaded somebody or somebody is chasing something and you can't do anything about them. You are not in police nor in the army. So what's your trouble? All right, are you with me? Finally, for a generational business, you need an anchor. You need an anchor because tough times will come. All right? Challenges will come. Having said all this, these are human theory. But challenges will come that is beyond you. Tough times will come that is beyond you. And you need an anchor. Who knows what this is? RTM. I'll give a prize here. Road marketing. If you get it, I will give you 2 bottles of Rulox, 1 pack of Novadex, 1 pack of King Tonic. Any of my over-the-counter drug you like, I'll give you 1 bottle. And you will get it while you're here. I will send somebody to deliver it. RTM. Now I will do 20 seconds to get it. Time is counting. Route to market. Required to market. Right time management. Final answer. Right time management. Final answer. Yeah. This means read the read the manual. Tell your neighbor, read the manual. Tell him, read the manual. You know, not WhatsApp, read the manual. Tell him, read the manual. God created us. God created us. And so, he also created our businesses. After reading my PhD, I came to the conclusion that there is no business principle that is not in the Bible. Not one. Not one. Please, any day you find one, give me a ring. I will come for a discussion. I challenge anybody. Any business principle, be it strategy, be it operation, be it production, they are all in the book. And that's why I say read the manual. And what's our manual as Christians? Bible. And that is why Joshua chapter 1 verse 8 says, and this book and this manual shall not depart from your mouth. He said, meditate upon it, and in doing so, you will get to where you're going and you will have good success. You see the end of the matter. Read the manual. Read the word, the manual. Second one, he said, and the man of God alluded to it, information is key. But beyond information, get revelation. Why? Information is a documented evidence of what has happened. Revelation is idea of what is going to happen. You see why one is superior than the other? That this mic can amplify my voice and information. I know it. But that I'm not going to be able to handle this mic after the next 10 minutes is a revelation. Only him knows it. Have you seen the way it works? When God gives you a revelation, when God gives our business a revelation, if Sir I calls me tomorrow and say, okay, I'm having a revelation. God is telling me this is the way we're going to go with SKG or Alpha or New Height. That is a revelation. You arrive there before others get there. You arrive there before others get there. Proverbs, my popular quote. Proverbs 3, 5-8. Trust in the Lord with all. Don't try to fix it on your own. When you are on the crossroad, know when to go. And final word, brethren, thank you for listening to me. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir.